Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of Bowling Shoe Handsome. I'm your host, Kevin McElvaney, and I'm here with my co-host, Young John. Young John, say hello to the nice people.
I swear, I really thought it was the third episode.
Well,
Is
you forgot that we were here because Harry was so dominant, Harry Barnett, on our last episode, so.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's what happened. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Bowling Shoe Handsome.
Yep. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Anybody? No? Okay.
I don't know where you're going with that,
All right.
but I immediately want to return these headphones.
I'll explain when you're older anyway. Uh, so
So,
again,
Kevin,
episode number 4. Man, just crazy, crazy week for Shoe Handsome for thebradyhicks.com in general. We were suspended following last week's episode
yes, we were.
due to exercising our right to free speech.
And not only were we suspended, but I was suspended from Squash Match Sunday, which made me kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm sure it made a lot of.
Missing this, I can care less. But
Yeah,
Squash Match Sunday, that's my bread and butter.
I
That's
think
my
that made.
yes,
That's your raison d'etre.
yes.
Did I say that right? Probably not. Uh, a lot of people missed it, John. That's people were asking me where it was, where's Squash Match Sunday, but I mean, you couldn't post.
Well, let your dad know that it will be back up this Sunday, and I'll get into that later on.
Well, Daddy will be very happy about that.
Daddy,
But
like,
yeah, Daddy, like, anywho, things have taken a disturbing turn once again. Uh, After last week, again, we were briefly suspended and then promptly reinstated due to pending legal action against one Brady Hicks. I'm gonna let bygones be bygones here. I mean, I appeared on last week's episode of In the Room after all this happened, so if I can do that, I'd say we're still posting here. I'd say we're good to go. We're gonna try and forget about all this, unless John, you would prefer to hold a grudge here.
nah, I'm okay with it. I'm kosher with everything that's happening right now.
Good, good. All right. Well, the point is that we are here. We have got a whole lot to talk about. We're going to try and skirt the drama that has been so prevalent on the website as of late, and instead just focus on wrestling and pop culture, mostly wrestling. But there is plenty to talk about just in regards to that.
Yeah,
So,
if you don't mind, I'd like to get started with Raw.
yeah.
I read on WrestleZone.com the headline, Raw got rocked. And I like to say, it's great. They brought Motley Crue in as the guest hosts. And I read that during their live performance, their unnamed bodyguard forcibly ejected an unruly crew dude. That's what they call fans of Motley Crue, Kevin.
I
To be to be perfectly honest, I didn't read it. I just read the headline, and I assume that Motley Crue was the guest host. So if you just want to agree with that, we can move on to
I'm
part
pretty
4 of Jack Tunney being in the Hall of Fame.
I'm pretty sure that is actually not what happened.
Okay.
But but it would have been good if that had happened, except for the fact that I don't think anybody wants to hear Motley Crue in 2011. And if you do, I apologize for your horrible taste.
I don't think
But
anybody wanted to hear them in 1911, which I think is
I would agree
that's
with
the
that.
year that their third album dropped.
It was entitled never mind. I can't come up with anything quick enough. I need to be faster on my feet here, young John.
That's a long title.
Yeah, that was a pretty long title for an album. Never mind. I can't think of anything to come up with. I need to be faster on my feet here, young John, by Motley Crue. Out by care of Warner Music Group.
You know,
Which only consisted of 160 record labels at that point.
I thought that was the Interscope record, but I
Watch
could be
your
wrong.
watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Anyway, uh, man, you know what? Raw did get rocked. It was a pretty good episode. By the time we go to air with this week's edition of Bowling Shoe Handsome, which now has moved to Monday nights, running head to head with Monday Night Raw, although recorded prior. I think we don't want to dwell too much on last week's Raw. It was an important edition, but it's been addressed thoroughly at this point. So let's just try and focus on some other areas, unless you'd like to talk just a little bit about in general where things are headed with The Rock, John. But some of this, with based on when we're recording, Survivor Series has not happened yet, so a lot of it's going to be wild guesses.
Right. So we could make predictions, but it could sound really bad considering people will be hearing this about 24 hours after Survivor Series actually happened.
Right, and I already, and I put and I've already put out, even as we're recording this, already put it out on
Hmm.
a radio site. But I would say more long-term predictions for what they're going to be doing with The Rock. But I think we need to see what's obviously he's going to be the main event at WrestleMania. But as far as how that's going to play out, I think time will tell with that. It's largely just speculation at this point. But I mean, there's plenty else to talk about just apart from that. Did you want to bring up one of your topics first, or do you want me to dive in with one of mine? I have a couple of
Well,
things.
let's go with yours because yours is probably way more recent, and we should probably stick with recent topics
All right.
for
Well,
the beginning of the show.
even my recent topic is a bit dated. It's something that's been talked about to varying degrees over the past few months. But Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, Homer
Yes.
Simpson, smiling politely. Billy Corgan will be starting up his own. Well, I guess has started up his own wrestling promotion. With actually his the first show is going to be on November 25th, which when you will be hearing this will be this coming Saturday. Um, so that to me is exciting, and I would imagine, John, with you being a Billy Corgan fan as well, that this has got to be exciting for you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I remember when Billy Corgan made a debut in ECW,
Hmm.
and I was a big Smashing Pumpkins fan. And you would always read on the fan sites that he was showing up at ECW just to watch. He was hanging out with the wrestlers backstage.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really shock me that much. Although it kind of shocks me that he's still had this, I guess, a love affair. It's got to be called a love affair if you're creating your own,
Oh
indie
yeah.
fit.
Right. Right. But obsession, maybe even. But you look at this, and it's interesting because I don't know if you checked out the website for the promotion, but if you look at the roster, there's significant overlap with ECW, but also the rest of the roster. And granted, we don't know who's going to be appearing on a show-to-show basis, but the roster or the promised roster um, reads like a mixture of the old ECW and a who's who of modern indie wrestling. At least now, not everybody who was affiliated with ECW on the show is going to be uh, an active wrestler. For instance, first and foremost, you look on the website, you see Raven, and he's going to be an agent. So he's working behind the scenes, which I think is a great idea because Billy Corgan, though a huge fan of wrestling, is not someone who's done this before. He's not booked a wrestling promotion, and I think he needs a good veteran mind to be at the helm of this.
And who better than Raven?
Yeah, pretty much. So
I once watched a 5-part DVD series about him talking about being a heel. Parts
yes,
2, 3, and 4 talked about how the crowd doesn't pop until the match is over.
I thought that was a Tommy Dreamer idea. Was that from the Raven shoot?
That was actually Al Snow as well.
Okay.
That was from an Al Snow shoot as well. Resistance Pro, is that the name of his wrestling federation?
Yes, sir, Bob. So again, Raven at the helm.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have Joel Gertner appearing,
Nice. You can stop
and
right there. No, no, stop right there. That's fine.
I mean, perhaps I've overstated. Yeah, all right, the show's over. Thanks for tuning in. I've probably overstated the ECW presence a little bit here, but just as soon as I got on the page, I saw those two names. A lot of great wrestlers from Ring of Honor, from Chikara, just from around the Midwest and Northeast parts of the U.S. Colt Cabana will be there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm reading the roster, or I'm reading I guess the flyer for they're gonna have a Black Friday event. Billy Corgan, Necro Butcher, Harry Smith, which is pretty impressive. Cole Cabana, the Briscoe Brothers, the Sheik, and cheerleader Melissa.
yep.
I never heard of cheerleader Melissa, but the rest of them I've heard of, and that's a great card so far.
Well, cheerleader Melissa was in Shimmer and a number of other promotions, but she also appeared in TNA, and she actually appeared in TNA under two characters. She appeared as the cheerleader Melissa character. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. She did change her name, Alyssa Flash, which was, I guess, a modification of that character, and Raisha Saeed. She was actually a Awesome Kong's sidekick, sort of. I
Awesome.
would say sidekick because I wouldn't exactly have described her as a manager, but yeah, she was always with her.
Awesome Dong. What did you say?
Awesome Dong. Yeah, this is turning very rapidly into a very different kind of podcast.
Oh, cheerleader Melissa. She was in that program with Special Delivery Jones. I remember now.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
I remember. Oh, great. I'm happy uh she's getting back into wrestling after her biggest match being at WrestleMania 1 against Special Delivery
I
Jones.
think she might have been all of. Actually, was she born at that point? I'm not. She was born. Yeah, she was alive. She was a couple years old at that point, so she could have been involved feasibly
Possibly. Wasn't Shane McMahon a referee at like WrestleMania 2 or something?
at one of the early events. He was. Yeah, it's funny to look back and think about that, and then just see where the years took him. But yeah, we have an interesting roster here. I'm excited about this. I actually want to read a little excerpt from popular website punknews.org. I don't know if you've ever
Okay.
heard of that.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, it's a thing. So, yep. Anyway, so Billy Corgan. Well, this is a from an article on the Guardian, and this is well, it's not a quote directly from Corgan. Let me just read it. All right. So Billy Corgan loves the sport, that being wrestling, for its combination of incredible athleticism, unique personalities, and social concern. Social concern.
Social concern. Okay.
Professional wrestling, but listen, with fight storylines, I just love the language used here. With fight storylines touching on sex, religion, race, and everyday issues. Quote from Corgan: "Oftentimes, it's one of the first forms of entertainment to address uncomfortable things in the culture. That is true. Things that other people do not want to talk about, other forms of entertainment, will not touch. Wrestling does it because wrestling has no shame."
I
And
agree, I agree with everything up until he said because wrestling has no shame.
oh, I said that. That was I should say that was that was the bracketed portion.
Oh,
And
okay.
everything his portion of the quote I should clarify ended with to address uncomfortable things in the culture.
Okay.
Okay, so he intends to continue this tradition. Promising female stars will be given a platform to show off their athletic prowess rather than being used as eye candy.
Okay.
So interesting and kind of in keeping with the Midwest wrestling promotions who feature women a lot more, and not just Shimmer, but I mean you've seen there's been women's hardcore wrestling in the Midwest. There's just a lot of whereas in the around here in the Philadelphia area, women's hardcore wrestling takes on a very different meaning, uh, and usually those shows are 21 plus. But you have this,
Oh,
and
baby.
it happens. It happens. Don't act like it doesn't. But I don't know. I just think Billy Corgan kind of comes from a little bit of like an alternative rock, loosely punk rock background, and he's looking at this as like just an interesting kind of art form, and that's what wrestling is. And I think a lot of the better indie promotions take that approach too. So that to me is interesting. I see this, and really what I wanted to talk to you about here. I mean, do you think there's potential for wrestling to be not something that affects social change or something like that, but for wrestling to be sort of like a countercultural force, like different forms like alternative music and things like that would be? I mean, it is a very something that pulls people in, and it's a fringe art if you think about it.
Well,
But
it all depends on the media platform that it's put upon.
mhm.
Uh, if he touches on something that hasn't been touched on before, maybe if he posts matches on Twitter or TwitVid,
Yeah,
or he does something different out of the ordinary. If he wants to shake it up, he has to shake it up. He can't just be like, we're going to be hardcore or we're going to have women wrestlers. Okay,
right,
great.
right.
Let me go down the street and watch that at
Anyway,
ROH or Chikara or Shimmer or
well,
Ace
I
Pro
mean,
Wrestling. Just any local promotion.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting here to me. You actually look at this roster, and we do have some, for example, some Chikara guys, and specifically you have Hollow Wicked, you have Frightmare, you have members of Fist. These are guys who are from a promotion that's very much like a live comic book, and there's a lot of crossover. You see a lot of people there in these obscure band T-shirts, and then you see the wrestlers after the shows wearing the same shirts. And for the life of me, I don't understand why there's not more crossover between, the alternative music scenes and the indie music scenes and the punk music scenes and pro wrestling. I don't. I mean, I know wrestling's not everyone's thing, but to me, there's just tremendous potential to capitalize on the similarities there.
Do you remember at the Warp Tour one year they had
Luchadors.
they had luchadors? Remember that?
Yeah, and I actually didn't catch it, and I don't. I probably had sun poisoning. That's usually what happened at the Warp Tour.
Yeah, me too. But I
Damn
went
you, Irish blood!
I went with a friend of mine, and it was awesome. Listening to a band in the background while watching luchadors go crazy, all the while throwing tortillas into the crowd. It
And
was an awesome experience.
it's kind of funny how that, and I believe it was about the same time that they started focusing less on the extreme sports aspect of Warp Tour, right? Because and
My God.
younger and yeah, well, you know what? It was okay to watch people skateboard for a couple minutes, but people, no offense to the skateboarders out there, I can't do it. Good for you, but yeah, it's a music festival primarily. Actually, I'm sorry, primarily it's a festival to sell sneakers, and then it's a music festival, and then it's extreme sports, which it's not so much that anymore. But you had you had that thing going on in the background, the extreme sports, the countercultural thing, and really the extreme sports were taken off in a way that the punk music wasn't at that point, like around 96, 97 when it started. And younger listeners of the show, even people who might go to Warp Tour these days, might not even know about the origins of it with having the extreme sports present. But I just think, you could have wrestling there in that same kind of way that you used to have the skateboarders and the people riding bikes. I don't know. It's just a thought. It doesn't have to be Warp Tour. There are other venues for it. Uh, I mean, it could tour and it could play clubs. You've seen other wrestling promotions do this to some degree, but I think Billy Corgan has this like street cred and this name, this recognizable image that people will be more inclined to check it out if Billy Corgan is somehow associated with it, even if he's not necessarily the household name he once was.
And I agree with you. It could really take off. It's just a matter of the social media and the promotion, the marketing. It all depends on how they promote themselves. And
Right.
if they just go out there and say we're like everyone else, but we're different, that doesn't tell anybody anything.
Right, right. And I don't even know if, well, I don't even necessarily think they're saying they're different. I think they're embracing the their place as a wrestling promotion. They're just saying this is what we like about wrestling, and we're going to emphasize this.
Okay.
But we'll see. I
I
mean,
mean, on the outside, I like it. I like the idea, and if it came to the Philly area, I would probably see it because of Billy Corgan, and because of the wrestlers that either have
and
proven
now is that
themselves.
is that only if none of the show featured songs from Adore, or is that
I like the door.
what? Ah, all right. You know what? No, you're the bigger Smashing Pumpkins fan here, so I can't really argue you on this. But
I like the door.
oh man, you and a couple others.
Go to hell.
Well, here goes. I better actually pull back on this. If we, who knows, we might want Billy Corgan to come on and talk about Resistance Pro at some point. We don't
That'd
want
be
to go.
awesome. But here, listen. Bottom line, all I heard from you is that Billy Corgan's hiring a bunch of Uggo girl wrestlers to grapple each other, and
Uggo, but they're not Uggo. It's basically no. I know you're trying to stir me up here, John. But I mean, to a point, you're saying, okay, well, what really makes it special? And I mean, they're not Uggo girls. I guess that's my point. But they're, I don't know. I think wrestling with a not with a social conscience. I mean, you don't want it to be boring. Wrestling needs to be a little bit like edgy and politically incorrect. But I don't know. I think that it can be smarter. I don't think there's one of us out there that thinks that pro wrestling paints itself dumber than it has to a lot of times. You know, I mean,
yes,
maybe not for some people. Some people want it exactly that way, but most others, I would say, not. They feel insulted by certain things. So anyway,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear more about Billy Corgan's promotion. Um, Now I have my Hall of Fame question of the week, Kevin.
okay. Hall of
I
Fame question of the week.
And this is gonna sound kind of like a slam dunk. Like I know you're immediately gonna say, of course he's gonna get in. Goldberg. Now
Yeah,
Goldberg didn't have save it, buddy. Goldberg didn't have much impact in WWE. Although with other wrestlers that didn't really matter.
right.
I'm assuming Harley Race is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and Dusty Rhodes, and yeah.
Right, and Dusty Rhodes, all he did was act like a weirdo with some black chick wearing polka dots.
Some black chick was Sapphire. Show some respect.
Some beautiful Nubian princess named Sapphire.
All right, John. Somebody has a crush.
Now, I can easily see Goldberg getting in because he has the mic skills. He'll go up to the mic, Austin will introduce him, or probably Austin.
Yeah.
I doubt Disco Inferno will introduce him.
Yeah, I actually don't know who Goldberg's other friends even are from pro wrestling. So, but I think a lot of people thought that you would have seen Goldberg going in with the Atlanta class,
Okay,
WCW centric sort of thing, and we
right.
didn't see that. He's not from Atlanta. I mean, of course, you're thinking WCW Atlanta, of course. I mean, Goldberg was born in Oklahoma. Well, he played for the Bulldogs though, so I guess that's where. And then the Falcons. I did forget about that. I forgot
Yep.
about his football career. So I guess he really was, despite being born in Oklahoma, I guess he really was more of a Georgia guy. But I mean, that doesn't mean they've missed the boat on this. They don't have to wait for another Atlanta WrestleMania either. They just have to find the right year for him.
Right. I mean, I don't know how they pick the Hall of Fame classes. I really think it's just at random. They just say who have you been in touch with the most? Who needs a little extra moolah at that indie wrestling convention where
Yeah.
they could put on their sign Hall of Famer.
Hmm.
I think that's really what it is. I think it's just as simple as that. I don't think there's any type of formula. I don't think there's any type of we're going to be close to this vicinity. Let's put this guy in the Hall of Fame.
They occasionally do one or two like that, but it's not that much thought. I don't think it's political. I mean, that's been established in the past.
Absolutely, absolutely
Not established, but I mean, it's pretty apparent. But
obvious.
yeah, and they have. I think every year you'll see somebody who will go into the Hall of Fame who is kind of in the public consciousness that year for whatever reason. You had Shawn Michaels, you had Ric Flair, you have Hogan when he was in good graces with WWE again. You had Stone Cold, I believe he had a movie out that year. You know, you
Right.
have these guys and they go into the WWE Hall of Fame because you have that. You need a headliner every year, is what I'm saying. I don't know if I can ever see Goldberg being the headliner, even though by all rights he should be. You love or hate Goldberg. I mean, he clearly was one of the more important wrestlers of that decade, of that era of wrestling, I should say. And I mean, of all time, if you think about it.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Goldberg. I mean, he's not somebody who will go out and out wrestle somebody. He's not going to be a Dean Malenko or a Chris Jericho or a Bret
Right.
Hart. He was exciting to watch. He was just it's like watching the slam dunk contest. You're not going out there to see someone, do a fancy dribble. You're going out there just to see just
Slam
slam
dunks.
dunk.
Right, right. Or a home run derby.
Exactly. That's basically like watching a Bill Goldberg match.
Yeah, right. And then I don't know. There might be other people who are more into guys who are good base runners or uh, I don't know. There are different qualities that make that interest different people in wrestling and in any other presentation. But Goldberg, he had the money behind him. He sold tickets. He was the centerpiece of that programming at that point. Despite
Yep.
the attempts of a lot of other guys to stay focused, and I mean you can't really fault them for that because that's what you do.
Hmm.
I mean he's absolutely going to go in. I don't see him headlining a class, so maybe it's just a matter of getting him in as a number two to the right guy. But
Definitely. I could definitely see that.
yeah, then it's kind of question of who, and that's a little trickier.
Yes. Therein lies the question.
Yeah.
Well, should we even try to do Survivor Series predictions, or would that be kind
Nah, that's pointless because we're up already. I think you and I can do that privately. That's by the time this goes up, it will literally be after Survivor Series, so let's not worry about that.
What about who's Slammy who? Should we try and predict that?
I want to get into that a little bit later. I kind of want to like maybe close out the show with that. But
Okay.
let's definitely do that though because I think we have to talk about these nominations.
Okay.
Pretty interesting.
How about
Uh,
this? How about this, Kevin?
Jack Tunney in the Hall of Fame, Part 4.
No. We'll
What's
say
up?
that. We'll say that for afterwards when I can curse at you.
Okay.
Now, George Clooney is one of the luckiest men in the world. Not for his accomplishments, not because he doesn't wear makeup in his films or his rugged good looks, but his arm candy. Miss Hancock.
Yep.
Do you know about this, Kevin?
Oh yeah, it's been going on for a bit. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
George Clooney and Stacy Keibler.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's funny because you see pictures of George Clooney with Stacy Keibler.
Yeah. He's old enough to be her great great grandfather.
She's still smoking hot. Like every picture you see of those two. Ugh.
Yeah, right. Do you need
Kevin,
a
I have a weakness for beautiful women.
Well, how awful of you. How awful.
You know, I know what you're thinking, sick fetish, and somebody should call the state college police department. We got another sicko here, but
All right.
I'm a sucker for beautiful women. And Stacy Keibler. Let me just end the show with this. Va 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 boom.
I don't think the show's over. Just everybody keep listening. The show's still going. As you'll see, the stream and or your MP3 still has some time left to play. John may have checked out. John, are you there?
I'm looking. I just googled image search Stacy Keibler.
All right. Well, I may have to carry the rest of the show on my own. The rest of this show on my own there.
Okay, I'm back.
It's like that one time on my Uncle Carmine's when he was showing a slideshow of his recent trip to Aruba there. And then he had to go and answer the telephone. So he had me working a slide projector. And I don't know what I'm doing with these things. I was just a kid at that point.
Kevin.
And I got fixated on this photograph of an iguana, which they're like pigeons there. They're everywhere, you know?
Kevin.
Yeah.
Did Stacy Keibler have a falling out with WWE?
Suspicion, internet rumor, and again, everything that is printed on the internet is exactly the truth. And supposedly, she sort of, the word is that she got herself too over with that Dancing with the Stars gig and rose above WWE, and WWE didn't like that. That was the word, which is strange because WWE usually likes people going out and doing things like bringing attention to WWE, but I guess they viewed Stacy being famous as not quite that. I guess the perception was that Hollywood wanted to pull Stacy away versus Stacy pulling Hollywood closer to WWE.
Gotcha. That's probably, I remember hearing about that as well. Now, did you hear what George Clooney was quoted as saying today? He said
I think I burnt my toast a little bit by accident, but I'll do better on this second go round.
He said, "She's very tall. She can kick my ass." He added that the 32-year-old Keibler can take me 2 out of 3 falls.
All right. That sort of makes sense. That's kind of an uneven sexual metaphor, but
that's kind of strange. I think it means that I don't know how to take it. I don't know.
It means yeah, oh yeah.
So he wins
again.
I don't understand. So I guess he either won the first fall against Stacy Keibler, or she won the first, he won the second, which is usual. I mean, let's go back to the Chris Benoit versus Booker T best of 7.
Again, I think this is where it gets a little uneven.
You know, they call her the weapon of mass seduction, and I agree.
Do they call her that?
That's what they call her in this USA Today article.
Really?
Yes. They said they quoted that as saying that was one of her nicknames in WWE.
Was this an article that Chelsea Clinton was drafted to write?
There was no editor, or there was no author.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Chelsea Clinton?
No.
No? Chelsea Clinton got a job with NBC News.
Oh, good for her.
But
was she originally intern?
No, she got offered the position just for being Chelsea Clinton.
Who is Chelsea Clinton?
I think she was Socks the Cat's older sister. Socks the presidential cat, the first.
Please, you don't have to tell me twice who Socks is.
How about Buddy the dog? Remember him? He's less popular.
That was George Bush?
No, Buddy the dog was the Clinton dog.
Oh, that was still Clinton. Okay.
Buddy Clinton. Let me try Googling it. Yeah.
Okay.
Buddy Clinton dog. Wow. This, you know what, internet, you have amazed me once again. Buddy, parentheses dog is a Wikipedia article. Oh, but no, it has like his date of month of birth and date of death on here. That's sad. Buddy, September 1997 to January 2nd, 2002, a male chocolate-colored Labrador Retriever was one of two pets owned by Bill Clinton while he was president of the United States. Clinton's other pet was a cat named Socks. Socks cat also has a Wikipedia article. Ah, Socks too? Ah, Socks lived to the ripe old age of 20, though. And
That
there's,
is really old for a cat.
yeah, I
That
know.
is
Tell me about it.
crazy old for a cat.
We had do you remember? Did you ever meet my family's old cat Mickey?
No.
Okay, well Mickey, no, yeah, you know what? I guess I had him until about senior year of high school, so he wouldn't have. But Mickey, we got him. I mean, my family got him before I was born, and he lived to be 21 years old. I was a senior in high school when we had to put him down, and
Wow.
that was just like, I mean, of course that's really rough growing up with a pet that long. It's like a family member,
Right.
but crazy though, 21 years old, and especially what is it, 7 years, the conversion of cat years to people years.
Basically.
So that's like 140 plus year old cat, something like that.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if the conversion still holds up after that long,
I don't know.
but that's still pretty remarkable.
That is really old for a cat.
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, Socks the cat, R.I.P. Buddy the dog, R.I.P. The integrity of journalism, R.I.P. Anyway,
Bowling Shoe Handsome, R.I.P.
no, not yet. We're
Okay.
not dead yet. We're not quite dead. I think I think I'll go for a walk. I feel happy. Anyway, I did want to talk to you about something else. This is a potential feud on the horizon. I don't know how possible this is, but I'm interested. Goldust is starting a Twitter campaign to get behind Team Goldie. That the team thing is getting really overused, people. Come on. But Team Goldie, to get Goldust to challenge his brother Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Additionally, Goldust is offering to put his career on the line in this match.
Nice. I like it.
This is really interesting to me because honestly, it kind of gives Cody something interesting to do at WrestleMania. It's not just a regular vanilla feud. He's feuding with his brother. His brother's putting his career on the line. I will say right up front, I do not see this happening if there's any chance of any other career-related match. Like if you have something like Triple H's career versus The Undertaker's career, you're not going to see two career matches at WrestleMania, especially not with Triple H's being one of them.
Definitely not.
But
I'm looking at Goldust's Twitter right now, and all it basically says is just him and Cody Rhodes. If this match with Cody at WrestleMania 28 were to take place, a heel towards Cody I will be.
okay. Yeah, read a couple of the other tweets just in case anyone hasn't read them. Just give them an idea of what's going on.
Okay, one says, "Ooh, baby, do you know what it's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth."
I think you're reading Belinda Carlisle's Twitter again.
Sorry, my bad. I can promise if this happens, there would be a shattered dreams that was a long time coming. He's also quoted as saying, "I would show Cody that his older, more experienced brother would beat the dashing off him. Yes, I'm a heel, so what?"
Okay.
And he's also quoted as saying, "At Rebel Rose Lover, monkey butt." And that's real. I swear that's what it says on here.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Oh, and here it is right here.
Okay.
At WWE, you have to try and understand when I say that I want Cody at WM28, that I am dead serious. His IC title versus my career.
I mean, this is really an interesting way to go about it. I mean, very much like grassroots, I guess, as much as somebody can do that in a wrestling situation. But you see something like this, and you have to think that Goldust is pretty serious here. That he's going to put the career up, and if the match fits into the cards, and I would hope it would be a WrestleMania, not just some random pay-per-view or God, Raw or SmackDown or something. WrestleMania would be a great spot for it. It would be something interesting and different for Cody to do. Cody's actually been talking in interviews about, at least one that I read, that he would be interested in doing a program with Goldust. And he said that even though they're brothers. There's a little bit of an age gap. They would get to know each other in a way that they never have gotten to outside of wrestling. And there's something really cool about that.
Yeah, I could see that definitely.
And working together and just finding out like different things about each other. The only way they can learn it is in that ring, and that's really cool. And you see, Goldust actually alluded to. He didn't allude to. He flat out said that Cody stole some of his moves. And of course, I wouldn't call it stealing. It's like a tribute or a nod to him. But Cody does use some of his moves. A lot of his vocal mannerism. I kind of hear Cody as being like as of late, sort of a mix of old school Goldust and Mankind. And I love that because Cody was just not doing it for me for a while. I was not interested in what he was doing.
Yeah, nobody was.
Yeah, but they shoved him down our throats. But luckily, he got better. And fortunately, that's happened in a few other cases. I actually have been really critical of Dolph Ziggler, too. I haven't been a big fan of his, but I think he's gotten a lot better while being shoved down our throats. And I think Cody's definitely doing that. Cody is very interesting to me right now. I want to see him have a quality feud for WrestleMania, and I think Goldust would be a really good one. It might not be, it's not a main event thing. It's an undercard match, but they can't all be main events.
I mean, it would be quite the opposite. I feel as though it would be the second match on the card.
But a good second match. You have the opening.
Absolutely.
Some high-flying match as the opener.
Or they put a title on the line. Actually, they might have that as the first match, because usually at WrestleMania they put the U.S. title on the line for the first match, or the IC title on the line. Or sometimes the... wait, now they have the Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see, say, like a U.S. title match first, or a tag title match. And then second or third, and we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with the WrestleMania predictions, and all podcasts tend to do this around.
Well, by the time we're actually broadcasted on thebradyhicks.com, it might be around WrestleMania time.
That's a good point. I think Brady has asked that we post all shows for the next 3 months on the week before WrestleMania. I think he said to put them up. But we love you, Brady. Anyway, not a hell of a lot, but we love you. Anyway.
I'm on the fence.
You know what, John? He was praising your work from last week. You gotta keep it up. Come on, grease the wheels a little bit. Come on. But anyway, I think we could see that as a good second or third match. I think you want to see the second or third match have a good story behind it, and the first match is more about the wrestling. So I think that would be a really good second or third match at WrestleMania.
Definitely, that'd be a great match. I mean, I haven't seen Goldust wrestle in a while, and to be honest, I haven't watched Raw in a long time, so I haven't seen Cody wrestle, but I would love to see Goldust wrestle again against some up-and-comer, especially his brother.
Yeah, I'm definitely sold on that one. It's a very good, earlier in the card match, and I hope we see it. So everybody can actually go, and not to just give plugs on this show, because we're giving a lot between this and Billy Corgan. Go on Twitter. If you're interested in this, go on Twitter and spread this message around. WWE loves Twitter. If you go on Twitter and talk about how you want to see, live feces at WrestleMania, and enough people tweet it, I'm sure WWE will make it happen. And I'm sure one or two of the matches will be live feces, just because out of 9 or 10, a couple have to be stinkers.
Yeah, but, well, WWE calls them divas matches, Kevin.
You know what? That's sexist. Billy Corgan's definitely not coming on the show now.
Apparently not.
If the Adore comments earlier weren't enough.
I Adore is a great album. Go to hell, Kevin.
Would you say that you
don't go there? Don't go there.
Love it?
Yes.
The French say j'adore.
The French say les incompetents. That's what they say. That's a quote from Home Alone. Kevin, did you know that UFC every time...
Kevin!
Speaking of Kevin,
yeah.
In UFC, every time one of the fighters comes out...
An angel gets its wings?
Right under their name, it shows their Twitter handle. There's even a soccer team in Italy right now. Instead of having their names on the back of their jersey, it's their Twitter handle.
That's a little bit excessive. I think this has been discussed a lot, but why not use Twitter? Honestly, it's just about whether or not you look too desperate, and I think that's really the line that's being towed here by WWE and some other organizations.
Yes.
Don't put Twitter above your brand, because Twitter's essentially just another brand, and you're competing with them on some level, even though they're assisting you. It's all about image.
It's all about image. Speaking of image, I was looking at what's that site called? Whoshotthecrowd.com?
I think it was popthecork.com.
Popthecork.com. I was looking at that site. It hasn't been updated with a podcast in forever. Have you been to the site lately?
I think a week or two we were talking about it.
Yeah, I was on it earlier today because that's what I do in my spare time. I just check.
You go to Pop the Crowd and hope for updates?
Yes. And there hasn't been a podcast uploaded to it in quite a long time. I want to say June.
Wow.
And June is being nice. I think the last one was actually like April. And Who's Slamming Who, the main show, uploaded to that site once. Once!
I've said this before. The only podcast I cared about on that website to begin with was Rich Baker's For the Love of Wrestling.
Right.
And Rich Baker and I I would say that we're somewhat compadres at this point. All our communication has been basically via the internet and electronic, like text or whatever. But I really think if people wanted to hear Rich Baker, we could probably get him on here for an episode or two. And I mean, maybe he listened to last week's episode. Now he might hear this and not want to listen anymore after I just sort of promised him. But I don't know. I would like to get him on at some point and have him talk about different things. I mean, I really enjoyed his show, but other than that, I mean, didn't really care about anything else. So I don't really care that it's not updated.
Well, they still have like these random news updates, and most of them are misspelled. And I think it's just Tommy Fierro just trying to validate the reason for switching from Who's Slamming Who was it Podmatic.com?
Yeah.
Over to a site that he probably has to pay for. And it's just so bad. Borderline pathetic.
Well, I would like to think that In the Room had a little bit to do with all this because I really think he felt insecure at the other place, and he had so little control over the fan bases that were developing, particularly In the Room. Not to brag because I was obviously part of that, but I think it's pretty much what happened. You know, just a thought. But a little braggadocious there, so I'll stop. But
braggadocious, dude.
Yeah, dude. So, did you have any other topics you wanted to discuss, John?
No, did you have any? I mean, I have a few left, but I can wait.
Hit me with one.
Well, I just wanted to say that Swash Match Sunday is coming back this Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
At 8 a.m. I didn't see that hand motion you were doing.
I really didn't do anything. I was just kind of moving around.
Oh, I thought you were giving me the finger.
Wait, this Sunday is it will have aired by the time we get on? Or you're going to withhold it a week?
No, actually, it went up yesterday, Kevin.
Okay. Thank you, John.
And I put up...
It's going to take us a little bit of time to get used to this recording on Thursday and going live on Monday.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to have a special surprise video that I feel that most will enjoy. And it's going to be something besides the 3 matches that I usually put up. And
you mean it will have already been?
Besides the 3 matches that I put up yesterday, Kevin,
okay.
There will be a special video at the top of Swash Match Sunday's article that most will enjoy. And it won't be Roddy Piper with Vince McMahon giving children bricks wrapped up as chocolate bars.
Are you sure it's not going to be that? Because it probably will be that.
It won't be. I'm pretty sure it won't be.
By pretty sure, do you mean not at all sure?
I have to talk to my creative team.
Okay. This is a problem if you have a team now working on this. I don't even know what's going to start showing up.
I'm excited. I can't wait to have it come up. I don't get too many comments, but I don't really care for that. I mean, as long as people look at the match and watch it for a little bit and chuckle to themselves.
Leave comments, people. That was clearly a cry for attention.
No. I usually just get a comment or two from Brady or Admiral Akbaz, and they're usually nice.
Indeed. All right. Well, once again, I'd like to plug everything from Mr. Akbaz, everything from Mike Bessler.
You love Mike Bessler.
You know, Mike Bessler is good people.
You heart Mike Bessler.
All right, you're making me uncomfortable here. I need to have a chance to tell him these things myself.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Anyway, I think what I do want to discuss, and we said this at the top of the show, so let's wrap up with this. The Who's Slammy Awards for 2011.
Who's
The
Slammy who?
Who's Who's Slammy Who Awards.
That's what it's called?
It is. It's the Who's Slammies or Who's Slammy Who. I was actually just about to say a minute or two ago, why are we still talking about Pop the Crowd? But this name is still Who's Slammy Who. So
I
it never
know.
leaves.
How funny is that?
Oh man! And anyway, so the nominees are out. We're not going to repeat them because they're on the website. They were announced in the room last week.
Now, Kevin, they're not going to announce the winners until December 27th. I was
Right.
thinking, should we just go through and just do like two per show?
What do you mean, like predict them?
Yeah, then we'll just talk about two categories per show.
No. Should we actually predict, or should we give our own opinions here? I
Oh,
think
we'll
it's-
talk about all of them, and then should we just predict them right before it happens?
Let's. All right. Well, let's go through the categories and just see how this develops. How about you? How about you lead this, because you seem to have some idea of what you want to do here.
I never have any idea of what I want to do, but I think it's funny that we discuss things during the show as opposed to before.
We discussed one or two of the things that we talked about.
I like it though. I like it. Off the cuff, Kevin. Off the cuff.
What do you have against cuffs?
All right, where's the
You be careful. I will put you in the figure four lip lock so fast.
Kevin? I'll give you the perfect plex. Excuse me. I was about to say perfect sex, but I meant to say perfect plex.
I don't know if you did that one right.
I would never want to give you perfect sex. I want to give you perfect plex.
All right, now
You know,
go
Kevin-
ahead. Go ahead with this before I pick you up for the jackknife power bomb and hold you there for a while.
Kevin, I want to give you an electric chair drop, except I'll spin you around and just hold you there, which is kind of like a jackknife power bomb.
So if anybody skipped to just this portion of the podcast, they're going to think that they walked in on something very private, and in a way they did.
Okay, let's go with best impression first.
Okay, so best impression.
Best impression. Let me read down the list real quick.
Yes, please.
DJ with Don West.
Mhm.
Did that win last year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know what? I am going to personally say that even though it's probably the best impression, I don't think anybody should vote for it this year, because I think if we have a repeat winner, that's kind of lame. And no offense, DJ, vote for another DJ impression, but just not that one because it won last year.
Okay, well, Don West. DJ is Don West. DJ Brady, Kevin, and Mr. Akbaz as Triple H, the Footlock manager. I don't know what that is.
Kevin, you're going to have to stay late again today. And then DJ has a Kevin Nash. I don't do a Kevin Nash.
Kevin as WebMD Kane.
Have you heard this?
No.
Seen this? Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the context for this. WebMD Kane was from when Kane and Big Show were teaming together in the most recent time, or they were aligned, I guess. And Alberto Del Rio ran over Big Show's foot with one of his many fancy rental cars. And when he did that, Big Show is just there screaming on the ground, and Kane is really upset and just doesn't know what to do, and he's running around, and in the room / Bowling Shoe Handsome contributor Andy Bernard and I were just cracking up at this because we're saying like Kane was just basically, this is what he would have said if he was allowed to react naturally. Are you ready?
Okay.
He's hurt. I don't know what to do. My intentions are good, but my medical knowledge is limited. Do we elevate his foot? What do we do? Somebody check WebMD. You, smartphone, WebMD, now, WebMD.
I like it.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
On a scale of 1 to like, I like it.
We got a little more elaborate than that, but that was basically it. It was dumb, but all of them are dumb.
DJ as Buffet Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it was actually from this week's, the last week's edition of In the Room. And it was basically Triple H was telling Kevin Nash that he needed to use a different plate every time he went up to the buffet, and Kevin Nash was having none of it.
Who was telling him that?
Triple H was telling him that he needed to use that. So I was the straight man in that bit. I was Triple H, and then Kevin Nash was DJ's Kevin Nash. Was
I
having
like it.
none. None of it. Yeah.
I'll have to hear that. The next one I have,
You had a hand in creating this one.
I really like the next one. I'm kind of biased towards it. Hot for Hardy, Jim Ross by Kevin.
Oh my God, my Jeffy. He's so attractive,
Oh,
King.
my rainbow hair warrior.
Oh, he's so beautiful, King. It's like a painting come to life.
That's just the best one ever.
It's like looking into the eyes of the Lord, King. God Almighty.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, be still my heart, King.
You
My
know,
soul stirs like never before.
I don't mean to be
That's right.
biased.
That's right. I said ne'er.
I don't mean to be biased,
N-E
but
apostrophe E-R without the V, King. Oh my God. Old timey spelling, King. Good God Almighty.
all the while Jerry Lawler is just looking at ridiculously young
Ah,
women.
ah, 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 ah,
Oh, the puppies! Oh, the puppies! All
ah.
right, I don't mean to sound biased, but that's just the best impression ever.
Yeah. Sorry, superstar Billy Graham by voice of choice.
Who is voice of choice?
The VOC Nation.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
By the way, they left stickers all over Temple's campus.
Did they?
I forgot to tell you that, Kevin. They have VOC Nation stickers all over the Temple University train station.
I saw those guys at the Liacouras Center. I think Brady was with them for the
Mhm.
for the TNA pay per view, and I'm pretty sure that well that could have been when they did it. I guess they could have done it other days, but
They left their stickers all over the train station at Temple University. I don't mean to give away where I work, but I work on Temple University's campus, and it is all over the campus. It's so funny.
that's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess we gave our opinion on all of the best impressions.
Yeah.
Well, you gave your opinion. I really like the Jim Ross one, but that's just me. Because anybody can run with it. It's just being homoerotic, Jim Ross.
Oh my God, King! When my Jeffy's gone, it's as if my life were for naught. Old timey speech, King. Good God.
Good God Almighty, all-time speech king. I want to slap my barbecue sauce all over his behind. And bah, 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 bah.
Oh my God, King! You just ripped every ounce of subtlety from that joke. Have some tact, King. By God.
So should we make our prediction or should we wait until the show before?
Yeah, let's wait.
Okay. Should we do another one or should we
Also,
just
also, I'm a little torn if we should make a prediction or pick who we think should win, or reveal who we voted for.
Okay,
Give it an endorsement, sort of. But you want to do that later, though?
we'll do that later. Should
Okay.
we do one more or should we wrap it up?
Well, I mean, voting doesn't start until the 30th.
Okay.
I'd say we could do one more though. Voting's going to be open in about 4 weeks. I don't know. What do you think?
4
Yeah,
weeks.
I guess we would need to do 2 a week.
It
Let's
says
do it.
November 30th.
Yeah.
That's
And
not 4 weeks. That's like 1.5 weeks.
no, it's the award show is going to be
On the December 27th.
yeah.
But
So
voting
that's-
opens Wednesday, November 30th.
okay, and then it goes for most of December.
I hate giving plugs for Brady Hicks, but let me take that back. Hey Brady, good job with everything.
Love, John.
Love, young John. Love your
Are you sending him an email? I just heard a space bar or
supple
an enter key.
young John. I might be sending him an email. Well, I can't tell you about that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So what's
Again.
By the way, what is this 30-day challenge that that he's talking about?
I think it's sort of a lewd thing, but that's just my suspicion. We can ask Brady about that off air.
Okay, all right. So we'll go with one more. Let's go with most original concept.
All right. Well, all right. So we got
the Fan Conclave by In the Room, which you were a part of.
yes.
So give your opinion on that. How'd it go?
Well, I wasn't there.
Go ahead.
I wasn't there for the whole thing. What I was there for,
Okay.
a lot of fun.
Go ahead.
I was a Fox and Hound at King of Prussia for the pay-per-view showing, and I got to meet Vince Gillett and Big Earn, and DJ and Brady were there,
Okay.
and it was a good time. And it seemed like they had a God, it seemed like they had a very good weekend, and everybody had a lot of fun. And they gone to several shows. I think at the very least, whereas Brady might fail at times as a web host, it seems like he was a very good in person host.
Okay.
So I would say that was a rousing success,
If Brady fails at a lot
or
of things in
or
life.
an arousing success, depending on how you look
Yeah.
at it.
Well, that would be for Mark Long.
And yeah, where'd that guy? Never mind. We'll get into him later, I guess.
No,
Okay.
Kevin, we will never get into him ever.
Well, okay. So the second nominee is live Fox and Hound broadcasts.
I want to go to that actually. I wouldn't mind going to that.
A lot of fun. I'm trying to save a few bucks away this weekend, so I know I'll end up getting a couple of drinks and a lot of food when I'm there because I'm a big hungry fatty.
Are you
But
going this Sunday?
what I'm saying is I'm not going to go. I'm going to, well, again, I will have not have gone yesterday to the pay-per-view. I will make it out to one of the upcoming pay-per-views.
Kevin, did you go last night to Fox and Hound?
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure that I don't remember doing that thing that I'm going to have done.
Do they broadcast from the Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, VOC does.
Oh, awesome.
I've appeared on I guess every time I've gone there, 2 or 3 times, I've actually appeared on the show. In fact, a couple of times I've been there, and I went there and I was sitting there just kind of minding my own business, and I come over and they're like, "Okay, you're gonna come on the show after this commercial break." I'm like, "Oh, all right." And at one point, I hadn't recorded anything for this site in about 2.5 months, and I was to say I was rusty is an understatement, but they're good guys, and it's a lot of fun going out there and being there for the broadcast and then being there for the show. So,
Kevin, are they a good guess?
a good guess. A tetra.
A big boy.
A tetra. A tetra.
A big boy kick.
A tank full of tetras.
Okay. Fantasy draft by Harry Barnett.
A tetra.
I know nothing about this. You have to fill me in. The only thing I know about this is that he is not related to Wade Barrett.
They both spell and say their names differently.
They're from England, Kevin. England, there's like 15 people.
Harry Bonnet.
Wade Barrett.
Harry Bonnet.
Wade Barrett.
Harry Bonnet.
You're being totally insensitive right now.
I'm sorry. I did pull an Adam Sandler there. Anyway, the fantasy draft. I mean, I don't know if it's super original. I mean, there's been fantasy wrestling plenty of times in the past.
Okay.
It hasn't been on this site, so I guess we have to give them that.
This next one isn't too original either. 5 syllables or less by Mike Besler. I mean,
what you just said was the opposite of true. Oh my! I cannot go. I know you said we were gonna like withhold what we're gonna endorse here as our pick, but oh man, I love this. And I just when I heard of it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. But the execution with with the banner for it, and then with the excerpt from the book highlighted and then perfectly cited at the bottom, and it's always the most ridiculous words. And he reviews the randomest titles. Oh man, so good. And Mike, if you're listening, please never stop doing this. The whole rest of the website can just crumble for all I care. Keep 5 syllables or less going.
Mike, I'll get text from Kevin telling me to check your review for the week. So he's being serious.
And there's only been a few of them. There's been 4, I think. And
I don't know.
With only a few of them, but just so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
You know, we never did that's one thing I always tried to work into the room, and it never worked. And I was kicking myself that I didn't introduce that clip into the show in time for when Don West came on, because then I felt like we could have discussed it. You know what? Should we explain that? Just because I feel like at some point we're probably going to be able to integrate sounds live into the show and things like that, have a soundboard sort of thing going. That's a goal for me anyway.
Yeah, I would love to do that too, because it would break up the monotony of our stupid, boring voices. And
I do try to edit some music and things in there, but I'm pretty inconsistent about that. And I'm planning to do it for this episode, so I'm going to look like a total hypocrite if I don't end up putting anything in but the opening and closing music, or last week I didn't put anything in at all. But anyway, uh, I think if we get this clip in here,
You know what? Oh, I
essentially
have it right here actually. Can you hear this? Let me know if you.
it's going to be Shelton Benjamin's theme song again, isn't it? Go ahead.
Can you hear that?
No.
Ah,
All right. Well, he's so good. It was Don West.
it was
It's-
it was the Shelton Benjamin theme song.
of course it was. What else would it be? What else could it possibly be?
That's the only YouTube video I know how to look up.
Well, good for you. Do you have it bookmarked? Do you have a link on your desktop?
It's my homepage.
And you have it on autoplay.
So what do I do?
Okay, so
Who are you to judge?
he's so good. So he's so good was from a tag team match. It was like a tag team gauntlet, and AJ Styles, I think he was teaming with Tomko at the time or something. I don't even remember, but he did his moonsault into the inverted DDT, and and Tanay and Don West are just like, and then there's this little, just this short beat, and then Don West says, "He's so good," and he's been out there for 20 minutes, exactly like that.
Right.
Don, did you see that? He's so good, and he's been out there for 20 minutes.
I remember you showed me that. I think it was like on demand or something, and you showed it to me.
Well, we were watching. A few of us were watching that pay-per-view, and for some reason we just thought that was the funniest thing. We went and eventually isolated that. We had that. A few of us had that, including Andrew Bernard. We had that as a text message alert on our phones when we would send each other stuff. We get a text and you're so good. It's oh man. All right, we need to isolate that and get that on here. Let's work on the soundboard and make that a reality.
Okay.
Where were we with all this?
Next up is Kevin McElvaney with Match Madness.
All right. I said this last week's in the room. If anybody votes for that, I will personally track you down and punch you in the stomach.
It's not really that original at all.
No, it wasn't original, and I didn't follow through with it. I had the idea, and I thought, hey, you know this thing, let's do that here. And Brady said, okay, that's a great idea. And he pretty much, I think we can say now, he pretty much ran that whole thing. So, yeah, no, don't vote for that.
Who won that?
Jeff Hardy, I think.
No, I mean like who won it as in,
Oh, the
like,
competition?
Yeah.
It's bad. I don't remember. Somebody won it.
You know, I had Rey Mysterio winning it, and I think I was close, wasn't
I don't remember. Are you a little bit bitter that you didn't get your in the room T-shirt?
I? Kind of. Yes. Yes, I am.
All right, well, take that up with Brady.
Okay. All right. Book Club by Mr. Akbaz. First off, they miss Admiral Akbaz with the book club.
Admiral at with the book club.
And then to finish it off, Belong a Mick with Design My Dolls.
I have no idea what that is. It sounds hilarious.
It sounds like
And I
a
think-
Tim and Eric skit.
And I think it does. I think I need to get in on this Mr. Akbaz book club. By the way, he is the best call-in guest for in the room. He's just hilarious, and he makes Brady and DJ a little uncomfortable, and that's hilarious. He just says this stuff that's like it's very borderline. Like, is this too offensive? But
Yeah, I'm sure Brady's writing down the time index of when Mr. Akbaz calls in.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't mean to say I mean, everybody does a great job calling in, and Mike and Derek, but I think he's just, we have this thing. There's going to be this poll for the new co-host. So the fans pick the new co-host.
Yeah.
And Mr. Akbaz is in, and he's the underdog for the co-host. But I'll tell you, he really doesn't need to be. He's just such a great call-in frequent guest. Like some of the characters on Howard Stern, I guess the best way to compare it, or like Opie and Anthony or a show like that. And he just is, he's perfect at that. And I almost wouldn't want to see him become a full-time host just because we would lose that. So,
I understand that.
but anyway, just had to put that out there. So,
That's
yeah.
that then. That's most original concept.
Yep. All right. Well, I think I think we've gone just about long enough here, John.
I think we've gone way long enough.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
wanted to bring
Oh yeah.
You know how I've been thinking about what we could do, like a blank of the week?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I have something kind of personal. I wanted to give my background of the week, the background of my computer. Like I said before, I have a sick fetish for beautiful women. And last week and weeks prior, it's been Taylor Swift. And
Taylor Swift, the bartender.
You need to introduce me to this girl, Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
because I've been to that particular bar the last two
You've never
weeks.
wait. You've never seen her?
No,
I thought that was the whole point. I thought that was you that.
no, that was you.
No, I wasn't.
You said you saw. You said she looked like Taylor Swift. She
I,
was a
I did
bartender
not.
at the Junior.
I did not start that. And you said that. Don't say the name of the bar.
That's not the real name of the bar.
Yeah, but all right. All right.
All
We'll
right.
figure out where
Well,
this came from.
listen. The background of the week. The last week and weeks prior, it's been Taylor Swift, but I switched it up just for this show. This week being Monday, November, what, 20th?
Hmm.
This week it's Marissa Miller, my beautiful angel Marissa Miller. And I'll post links to both of the pictures I just mentioned in the comments section of this very podcast.
All right. My background
So
is still the flying spaghetti monster with on the Sistine Chapel painting.
I know what picture you're speaking of, and I'm just saying that mine is sexier than yours.
Sexier than touched by his noodly appendage.
She's not wearing a shirt, and she's laying in the grass, and she's looking at me very seductively, biting her
Well,
finger.
I don't know if you know this, but neither neither is the Archangel Michael,
Mhm.
or is that who that is? Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or this flying spaghetti monster. Anyway, on that note, let's wrap things up here.
Let's wrap it
Thanks,
up.
thanks everybody. We'll wrap it up. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Hey, Kev, you want to wrap it up?
Want to wrap it up?
We're good to go.
We're good to go. All right, everybody. Thanks once again for tuning in to episode number 4 of Bowling Shoe Handsome. Mind us, we are under construction. We are working on getting a soundboard or something that will make the show a little more cartoonish.
I think we're doing pretty good so far.
I've had a great time, John.
I think this show's been great. I think you've been great as a host. I think I'm doing pretty good as a co-host. And I finally have a headset. And that's all that matters.
Congratulations, John. And we will talk to each and every one of you, or we will talk at each and every one of you. Same time next week, Monday, right here at thebradyhicks.com.
So 2 weeks from now.
Bowling Shoe Handsome.